let's give credit to where it belongs. The most important thing I want to say is this book is nothing totally original or anything from me. It's the same coming from both the Eastern and the Western traditions, the wisdom traditions of the world. And in particular, I would say it comes from the Advaita Vedanta tradition. I've kind of tried to put this in a way which is bringing in both the modern psychology and whatever Western philosophers have thought about it together, all this in a single way. Special gratitude from Gaudapada Ji, who is the Guru of Adi Shankaracharya's Guru, Adi Shankaracharya, and more recently Ramana Maharshi. So this is kind of their approach to. So whatever we discuss is somewhat validated by this age-old wisdom. There might be slight differences here and there, but by and large, this is not like we are not collecting ideas. It's not like a book club where in book club usually we have people collecting ideas and then no, this is a good concept, that is a good concept. But here it's more about our being able to understand it experientially. So there is two components in any of such things. One is the intellectual understanding of it, and then the experiential knowing of exactly the same thing. The title, it's got two parts. Know Thyself, be happy. And it is pretty, Know Thyself is something which is about us. So it's not, so all of us are experts about ourselves. So there is nothing that somebody can tell which is not, which we don't know about ourselves. Maybe we could have overlooked it, maybe we could have interpreted ourselves in different ways, but ourselves, we are the experts. That's very important. So it's a book about all of us. Second part is be happy. Also, it is not something which we are alien to. All of us have experienced happiness at some point or the other in different ways, sometimes on a daily basis. Maybe as kids we were more happy. So this is also something which we are all very familiar with. So the book is about us and about what we have experienced. So nothing in this should be alien to us. We should be able to verify everything we discuss here experientially. So if something doesn't resonate, please bring it up and say, hey, this is not true in my experience, and then we can try to discuss it.
Only one thing here. So, to the extent of knowing yourself, of who we might know, but we might not be consciously aware of what we are at all points in time.
Correct. So this is what we would. This exploration is about what we essentially are. What we are is like a lot of things, but what we essentially are is what we are. We will be exploring more in detail. But it's exactly what you just said. And then we will follow a kind of a modified version of the old format of learning. In Advaita Vedanta, the usual way to read is there are three aspects. It's called Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. We don't need to know any Sanskrit. We won't use any Sanskrit. Shravana is basically listening or reading. Reading, listening is that. Manana is clarifying, reflecting, asking doubts, and then so it's just making it our own, to put it that way. Whatever we have read, oh yeah, now I get it. So that is Manana. And then Nididhyasana is more like, okay, now I've understood it clearly and intellectually. Is it true in my experience? So when we start looking at our first person experience of how we live life, Nididhyasana, we try to see, okay, whatever I've learned, does it make sense? Is it true in my experience? Does it resonate? So this is the format. So
doesn't it go a little deeper? Because there is a deeper experiential understanding is also part of Nididhyasana.
Yes, experiential understanding is Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana, we are kind of doing some kind of a meditation. We will do I plan to do like a 10-minute one to start off this process. Whether what we are understanding is true in our experience. So we'll start with that kind of an nididhyasana. And Shravana and Manana, we don't need to do it. Oh, let's first finish all the Shravana and then we start reflecting. We will do it in kind of cycles. Let's read some part of the book and then we will reflect on it, go for the next, and so on. Is that fine?
Yeah.
And let's start with the introduction. Tanya, would you like to read?
Sure.
Like just read it loud.
Take it.
Maybe the whole first page, and slowly, if possible. Yeah.
What if happiness isn't something we need to earn, find, or chase, but something we can simply come home to? For many of us, happiness feels like a distant reward earned through success, effort, or transformation. We spend our lives moving towards some imagined future, one where everyone feels everything finally clicks into place. However, if you pause and reflect, you may realize that the most meaningful, alive, and effortless moments you've ever experienced didn't come at the end of a long struggle. They simply appeared. Think back to one of those vivid, unguarded moments. Maybe it was when you lost yourself in a piece of music, hit a perfect rhythm on a morning run, shared a silent, knowing glance with someone you love, or laughed uncontrollably at something unexpected. In those moments, you weren't seeking happiness, yet you were happy, fully and naturally. There was no effort, no mental commentary, no sense of needing anything more. That joy, that ease, and that simple clarity of being, what if that's not a reward, but your natural state? What if happiness is not a goal at the end of the road, but a ground we're already standing on? A default condition that gets wheeled by noise.
Thanks, Tanyaji. Maybe at this point I would like to pause and reflect a bit. Like our usual understanding of happiness is like, oh, it's an emotion. It's one of the many mental states. Oh, we can be angry, we can be sad, we can be irritated, we can be elated, we can be whatever, all of these methods, jealous, psyched, anxious, and also happy. So we put happy as one of the many possible mental states in our experience. But here, what the Advaita wants us to look at, the way we want to look at is, no, happiness is not one of the many states, emotions. It's the base, it's the background, it's the ground on which all of these emotions appear. It's like kind of making it an inside-out story. Maybe first I'll offer one analogy to it, and then maybe we can share some experiences. One of the ways to look at it will be like the sky and the clouds. Typically, if let's say there is somebody who has never looked at the sky, looks at the sky, and there is gray clouds, black clouds, maybe if it's early morning, maybe it even has some red or orange and things like that. But they will not see any of the blue. So the analogy says is each of those cloud color, the dark color is like, let's say, the depression or the sadness, the bright hues are the elations, or something is the anger. But underneath all of this is the blue sky, always there. So if you see one little patch sometime of a blue sky, we may say that, oh, that blue sky is the happiness, and the gray is sadness, and the orange is anger, and so on. But the real truth is, the blues is not one more cloud. It's the background in which all of this is appearing. This is just an analogy. Analogies are always limited. It's just a way to frame it. So this is the idea which we are trying to pursue in this book. Maybe at this point we can, in the book we said, hey, are there moments you have seen which is, oh, you've been just happy, there was no real reason. Have anybody encountered such situations? Maybe anyone would like to?
I was telling Ritu the other day, I have a boss, my ex-boss, who always comes into my room and asks me, Prabhu, are you happy? So I tell him, yeah, I'm happy. And he says, he looks into my eyes and says, and then I tell him, I'm always happy. So then he just goes away. And so he makes it a point to come once in a while and then specifically ask only this and go. And he's not my current boss, but he was my ex-boss. Okay, but he asked me. So then I was telling Ritu that, okay, look, when he comes and asks me, I don't ever feel, I sometimes ask myself, why does he ask this? And at that point when he asks me, are you happy? I honestly answer him to say that I'm happy. Yes, I'm happy. Yeah, and he looks at me straight in my eye, okay? And then I'm telling him, yes, I'm happy.
So when he asks, are you happy? Where do you go? You don't really.
Yeah, I don't need to search anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah? So I ask myself, am I happy? And then I say, yeah, I'm happy. So I don't know what any other state other than happy. So sometimes I feel that happiness and peace are the same, So I think when you said that happiness is is it an emotion or is it a state of being? If you say it's an emotion, there can be varying degrees of happiness. Like you said, elated, or on the negative side, it can be it can be sad, sorrow. But the base state is, I think, peace. So that's what I think. Are you at peace with yourself? Yeah. Are you having any kind of emotion? If you don't have any kind of emotion at that point in time, and if your mind is calm, I think it's happy.
Exactly. So that's a very, very, you already have nailed the most important point. But just to keep the conversation going, but usually it's not that. Most people's experience will say, hey, no, there is all of these things. If I achieve this, I feel happy. If I get this, I feel happy. So that's not also completely not our experience. Our experience is sometimes we realize that we get it, when we get something, we are happy.
So is happiness also absence of worry, stress? In the sense, does it have to be a high point, or is it just something which is there but gets, like you said, clouds come in, that it gets. I'll tell you when I feel I'm happy. When we are going for a traveling somewhere, and when I finally sit down on the seat assigned to me in the plane and the plane takes off, I think I'm happiest at that time, because all those worries stay down, all the doctor's appointments or what I have to book for the next day, or everything I seem to leave that behind, and I'm completely at peace, and that for me is happiness.
It's a very, very, this question always comes, even very young people, when we talk about happiness, they'll say, hey, what are you talking about is like a neutral. It's not happy, like you can get depressed, you can be very happy, but we don't want neutral. So this is one of the objections, which is exactly what you just said. Is it just the absence of
happy? It's peace, but it's a very happiness-inducing peace.
Exactly. So my take on this is, it's not a neutral zero. you are actually that is a good state to be in. That's a very desirable state to be in, state of being. So it's not that, to be happy there has to be some positive high points, some thoughts and so on. So all of those are things which can come and go. So this is something which is always there in the background, and it is good.
Another analogy that experience that comes to mind is when you are in school or in college. When the exams are over, now it's for the kids. When the kids' exams are over, okay, then it used to be when our exams are over. It used to be a point where there is so much load on your head and everything is out.
Nice.
So just when your exam, the last day of the exam, the last examination paper, when it is over,
And hopefully you've done well.
yeah, and
Sometimes it doesn't
sometimes
matter.
it doesn't really matter. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, if it's over, it's over. It's like it's that state of, I don't know whether it is helplessness or it's like I accept whatever it is. Acceptance, I think. At that point, whatever it is, I'm free now. It's that feeling of freeness in your mind, no other thought that is bothering you, and you have accepted the situation at that point. I think that's also another feeling where it's a very nice feeling. I think it's also a very peaceful, happy state at that point.
It's the absence of
Absence of-
agitation,
yeah,
absence
any
of,
kind of-
discursive thinking, whether it
Yeah.
should be this way or that way.
Yeah. You don't expect it to be anything else at that point. There is no expectation at that point. And the only thing is, I have no worries. I mean, you're conscious that there is nothing else to be done, and I'm happy with the current state. It's that feeling.
Awesome.
So,
Yes, Vishnu.
So I think taking both their analogies, I think it's so we are talking about a normal happiness related to something that we accomplish or something that we seek or desire, and that actually happens. And there are millions of them that happen, and we feel happy. But we also know that is something else comes along. And then that happiness goes. So it's fleeting. It can be a day, it can be an hour. You can't be, blissful all day because say Madhav or Pranav have finished their exams, right? If they've done well, they got 45.
Very fleeting.
You feel
Very
good.
good.
Okay, he's got 40. How long does that thing last? It doesn't, because it's conditioned upon something actually happened that you desired. Whereas what we are actually trying to seek and do is something that is unconditional,
Absolutely.
that is not conditioned upon anything. And your analogy of the cloud and the fleeting glimpse of the sky tells us that there is something that happens to us, which is what you've written in this page also. Something that happens which has no condition at all. It just happens.
Yes.
Right?
Simply appears.
It just appears. And you don't know, and you can't attribute a reason to it. Why am I? So what happens is that we are also conditioned to think, I'm happy.
Because.
Why? Because why? I must attribute it to something.
Correct.
We're not able to understand, because this is where it takes us in saying, can we be happy without a condition?
Exactly. So it's the
Actually,
unconditional. Do we need to attribute?
Do we need
it?
to attribute it? And again, we're trying to describe the quality of that happiness. Now, if you describe the quality of the happiness, it can be high, it can be low. For a moment, I would recommend that, or I would suggest that we don't put an adjective to that happiness. At least we are all agreeable that we do become happy unconditionally, and we don't know why.
Yes.
If we just leave it at that and explore further, that might be the way to
Good.
go
Yeah.
forward.
One more, I thought of an evidence which is in support of this in theory. When you look at infants, newborn or like 1 or 2 months old, usually they are at peace.
Okay.
And if they are hungry or if something is bothering them, they will cry. And then moment that botheration is taken out, they seem to be in quite a blissful state. So you cannot say that the kid has some ideas about what will make it happy or what will not make it happy and so on. This clearly kind of gives some evidence that, hey, maybe there is a state which we have all forgotten. Not, I think all of us do experience it, but we kind of have framed happiness as one of the clouds rather than the sky.
This incident you have mentioned, not incident, the condition you have mentioned when your eyes meet with someone and you smile. It happened once. We were at the bus stop and there was this, I was at the bus stop, nobody else. And there was a stranger, he was a white man. And we were just waiting for some bus and one lady came and she started talking on the phone. And for 10 minutes, it seemed that she was only doing the talk. Nobody was responding. And that stranger and I just looked at each other and smiled, because we couldn't think how she could hold this conversation, And I remember feeling it was, I wouldn't even call it happiness, it was like a fleeting, it was a joy. Just to share a smile with a stranger.
Yes, nice. Good. Let's continue. Yeah.
This doesn't mean life is meant to be a flat line of positivity. Emotions like anger in response to injustice, sadness at loss, or fear in the face of danger are not signs that something is wrong. They're healthy, intelligent responses to the circumstances of life. They arise, serve a purpose, and move through. But when sorrow, anxiety, or resentment persist without a clear cause, or when despair or dread seem to exist independent of circumstance, it points not to the problem with you, but to layers of mental noise distorting your connection to that innate clarity underneath.
Just take a little pause.
Sure.
So this is just again telling something similar, but pointing that we don't need to be all the time happy in that sense. So when there is an injustice happening, to be angry at that, or if there is some loss, to grieve for it, all of these are perfectly fine. There is a reason why this is happening, and then we are responding appropriately. So when we say, oh, we need to be all the time happy, that doesn't mean we have to be like, oh, regardless of circumstance, go to a funeral and make fun of them. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
So it's appropriate. But what actually we are targeting is those negative states like anxiety or sadness, which seem to occur without a cause. It just seems to be there in our background. I mean, maybe not for all of us, but if you can, like say Raghuji said, when his boss came and asked, "Are you happy?" And then without reason, he just looked in and then said, "Yes." Maybe not everybody can give that response. So, is there any reflections on this? Because this is the one which we are really targeting.
Yeah, but sometimes you're saying that it's a resentment or an anxiety without a cause, but it could be a resentment or anxiety because of you not letting go of that cause, or it's recurrent in nature, it's troubling you because you always, like we attribute happiness to others and to other things that happen around us, we also attribute our sadness to the actions and the whatever transpires in our life. We need an anchor for the sadness as well. The problem is that sometimes we don't let go of that anchor, is what I'm saying.
Very important point.
That I'm scared to be happy for a long time. She says that I feel that something bad will happen.
And taking off from there, she also once said is that, you see, a lot of the problems that we have, as Tanyaji said, is it's sustained. So it kind of takes, it goes on for months, for even years. It gets into multi-layer situations in your body. So it goes into your subconscious. When you are sleeping also, you get up sometimes unhappy. These are some of the things that could cause those feelings. Sometimes also says is that I feel comfortable being, because for her some of those situations cause physical pain. It happens. There are a lot of people who feel physical pain when they're deeply disturbed, or there is some level of depression that happens, and it causes physical pain. And when that's sustained for a long time and it doesn't happen, she thinks something worse is going to happen. So she would like to default to this, because she's used to feeling that pain because of that situation. So we have multi-layered issues that we face. But having said that, I think what we should try and do is, I don't know, can we hold on to that? Why is it that we are able to experience that joy without condition?
Yes.
Can we hold on to that? Because then what happens is that we get into these myriad emotions, we know about them, and they can be multi. Some people struggle with so many different things. But can we hold on to that just single one, that sliver of light that we see in the sky?
Absolutely. That is what we would.
So what is that?
Endeavor to do.
Yeah. So can we all reflect on what could be the reason why we are able to experience those fleeting moments of joy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will go exactly into whatever you just said. But just to complete this analysis, what Tanyaji said is, oh yeah, absolutely, we have a cause, but maybe it's kind of become a habit.
Yeah, it lingered on.
We just cling on to that, like what you just said. Hey, my default state is a little less pain, and I'm happy with this, and I don't want to go and risk something worse.
But Eckhart Tolle also says this, that this happens to all of us. We feel comfortable with our pain.
He calls it as a pain body.
Pain body.
Yeah. So one of the other ways to think is, so it has become such a habit that it has gone into our subconscious or unconscious, where we don't know the reason. When I say here, oh, you have some emotion, but you don't know the cause, it's more like there is a cause. That's clear, but you don't know it. Because from our first person perspective is what we are interested in here, right? It's our experience. If we are sad and we don't know why, it might be in the unconscious. Maybe a psychologist might be able to tell it, or maybe somebody even close to you might even know it. But if it is a blind spot for you, then you really cannot get out of it. So that is the what I wanted to bring across here. Yeah, let's.
You read ahead?
Yeah.
We often assume that joy comes from the outside, from achievement, recognition, stimulation, or control. So we chase those things, hoping to reproduce the magic. However, the truth is, the happiness you felt didn't arise from the external situation. It came from the absence of inner resistance. It came from a moment of undivided presence, where the usual mental static, the comparing, the striving, narrating fell away, and something deeper, more stable, quietly emerged. That something is you, not the constructed self made of stories and roles, but the spacious, alert awareness that's been here all along. This book is about remembering that, not by becoming someone new, but by seeing through what you are not. We all live within a model of reality shaped by childhood messages, social norms, and personal wounds, a story of who we are and what must happen before we're allowed to rest. The story gives structure, yes, but it also burdens us with a sense of insufficiency. It tells us that joy is earned, peace is conditional, and that we are somehow broken until proven otherwise. But what if the story is incomplete? What if the angst we feel is not a flaw but a signal, a call to return to what was never broken? And what if, through quiet recognition, we could begin to let go of what we are not and come to rest gently and fully in what we've always been?
Yeah. So this one kind of nicely leads to what Vishji was telling us, like, hey, can we catch that sliver of this blue? So what is this sliver of this blue? So that's one of the important themes of the book. That's the know thyself part. The ultimate realization which we all hope to get in this is, oh, that is me. That unconditionally peaceful blue which of the sky is us. So, but this has been maybe I'll start with one of the very old ways of kind of telling who am I. We have it in our Indian tradition a lot, coming from Ramana Maharishi and so on. All that we will cover later on. But just to bring a Western perspective, the first Western philosopher sometime in the 15 or 1600s who started to ask this question is René Descartes. He is like kind of the early modern philosopher. So he asked himself this question. Right at this moment, I don't know whether I'm dreaming or whether it is real life. I might be dreaming about the trees I'm seeing here, I might be dreaming about the chairs, I might be dreaming about the people. What is it that is one thing I can be sure of? He asked this question to himself. Because we cannot really differentiate between a dream. When you are in a dream, it feels everything is real. So he asked himself this question, what is one thing I can be sure of? All perceptions, meaning the sights, sounds, you can't be dreaming. Potentially you can be dreaming about it, or some evil demon could have made you think like that. Same for thoughts. How do you know this thought is real now? You can't be sure about it. Or our emotions. That's a big, I'm feeling sad. Are you sure? In a dream, we also feel scared, and then we wake up and feel a sense of huge relief. So all of this could be not trusted. But there is one thing which you're absolutely sure of, which is that you exist. Even to be doubting all these things should exist, right? Even to be fooled, like even if all of it is a dream, but you should be there to experience the dream. So the experiencer is something which is uncontestable. It's 100% sure it is there. I am. So that's where he came up with this thing about the cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. This is a very famous quote from Descartes. So here, like now we want to circle back, use that a little bit in our thing. So this I exist, existence itself, the I amness. We'll be talking a lot about the 100% sure knowledge that you exist, which is the I am. Not the words I am, that you know that you exist. Is that little sliver of the blue sky which Vishji was taught. So the idea in this, hey, hold on to this very fact of existence itself. It could be very confusing, but this is one of the crux of the thing. So we just hold on to this idea that you exist, and we will later on develop this idea of what this I is. So that comes later in the book. So anything to
Yeah, I think we've moved a little forward, but I want to take us back a little.
yeah, sure.
Back to what, there's a beautiful sentence here. How the truth is, the happiness you felt didn't arise from external situation. It came from the absence of inner resistance.
I've underlined this line.
Yeah, please.
You see, surrender. That's what we talk about when we go for satsang. All the books, all the teachers tell you, surrender. What does surrender mean? Surrender is not something that you just let go of everything and then go like a mad person, fall at the feet of someone. It's one eternal thing that is there. It is surrendering to the moment. Going back to Jyotiji's example and Raghuji's example, she feels that, now when she sits in that plane seat, she's not in control of anything. That pilot is there to take her. She has all the things that are supposed to have been done, or whatever is done or not done, she can't change anything now. So there is that, ultimately you just give up and you surrender to that moment. And that's what, there's no resistance.
Correct, absolutely. I just
Similarly,
want to be very
Raghuji-
careful with the word used, give up, because sometimes people misunderstand giving up as something.
Yeah, no, it's a
it's a
surrender.
letting go.
And
People also
also-
don't like the word surrender.
And also to the same point of the flight example, right? How many of the passengers in the flight will feel this way? Some of them could be even dreading that they are in the flight.
Yeah.
The very same situation.
Very true.
So it just invalidates that. Even that is not true.
So, and Raghuji's exam, we finished it. Now, who cares whether I'll get 90 or I'll get 40? It's not in my hand anymore. It's a big, that whole, burden on the shoulders just drop away. We all experience it. So, how is it, can we think about surrendering to the moments, especially when we are stuck with these enormous problems that we face? Can we start, so maybe that's a thought. Yeah, it's not something.
It's absolutely.
It's something that we can all take back and say, how do we, trigger that feeling of being, surrendering to the moment, is the question.
Yes. Nice.
You said Descartes' realization that I exist is something that we all feel. So that's the ultimate truth. We exist is the ultimate truth, irrespective of what is happening around us. The moment we attach to it, say, I am, or I was, or I am going to be, or whatever, an attribute to ourselves, or our perception of what we are, or what we were, or what we are going to be. That's the thing that moves us away from I exist.
Yeah.
And if we move away from that point of I exist, is when we are either happy or sad.
Correct.
So if we say that, okay, I'm 90 kgs now and I have to be 65 kgs. That's what makes me feel.
Right there.
Yeah.
We went from
I
am
yeah.
to I am
To
90
I-
kgs.
Yeah.
Like you added an attribute.
You added an attribute to a physical attribute to my state. I am. So this could be something else. I have $100,000. I want it to be $1 million. So again, you're adding an attribute or a desire to
A narrative, a
exist.
story.
Yeah. So I exist is, I think, a very peaceful state. I think if you just go back to that state, even when you are on the flight, I think it is that state. I exist. It is that state. Examination is over. I exist.
Yeah.
I don't care anything about anything else now.
Or when your boss asked you, are you happy?
Yeah, I exist.
Where did you go? You went to probably, I am.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
am. That's it.
Not the word I am.
Not the word I am.
The-
I am means I exist at that point in time. I think you move away from I exist is when you start feeling different degrees of emotion.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we have covered the whole book in the first session. Very good.
Let's hear from Rituji.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been very quiet.
No,
Unusual.
no, just listening. Whatever you are saying is quite what I experience most of the time. So just listening in and thinking, oh yeah,
She
yeah.
just am.
No,
Yeah.
she's also speaking. We're all
Yeah.
speaking through each
Yeah,
other.
so it's like, yeah, what she's saying is also right. What you all said also, yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Maybe would you want to read the next
Oh yeah.
from there? From the last paragraph before chapter 1.
Yeah.
This book is not about adding more to your identity. It's about uncovering what's underneath it. It doesn't aim to improve the ego, but to gently question whether the ego is the source of what you have always longed for. It's structured in 4 chapters, each peeling back a layer, bringing you closer to the heart of what happiness really is, and to the quiet truth of who you are beneath the stories, thoughts, and striving.
No.
Perfect.
Okay,
Exactly.
This
what-
is that sentence. This book
Yeah.
is not about adding more to your identity. Exactly
Yeah.
states what we just.
We just
all-
Exactly, that's what I said. We are.
We're trying to peel back.
So, chapter 1, Understanding Happiness. We begin with the familiar, popular ideas of happiness rooted in pleasure, success, flow, and meaning. We explore how these models point towards something real, yet fall short of offering lasting fulfillment. This opens the door to a deeper inquiry, one inspired by Ananda, the Vedantic insight that joy is not an outcome but the natural expression of presence itself.
So, 1 second. So basically, in the first chapter, what we will do is we will not straight away start with the Advaitic notion of Ananda, but we will explore what thinkers have thought about happiness for many millennia, and all of it is very valuable insights. We will also draw upon the positive psychology. It's a scientific study of happiness through various studies of what makes it happy and what. So all of them have a lot of important insights to offer, and probably a lot more practical tips which we can get. When we are in distress, probably we cannot go back to Ananda that easily, but those are things which we can do. So we will kind of go through some of them, and then having seen that, then we will see how the idea of Ananda encompasses all of them, or it's not contradictory to what science says.
Okay.
So this is the purpose of
Chapter
the
one.
chapter 1. Yeah.
Chapter 2, The Mystery of Self. We turn inward to ask the most essential question: who am I really? Not just as a personality or thinker, but as the one who is aware of every passing experience. We begin to see that the separate, egoic self is not as solid or central as it seems. What opens up is not a void, but a gentle vastness, the presence of which life unfolds.
So the second chapter is who am I? So we will also discuss here not just the Advaitic way of thinking, but what Western philosophy has to say, philosophy of mind has to say. So we will be talking about the body theories of self. We'll talk about the personality theories of self, and then we will see why those theories may make sense, but where are the limitations to those, so that we can be more confident and clear about what we are pursuing. It's not just, hey, this is my idea and I don't care about the rest, but we kind of go through the other things as well, and then we kind of look at objections to that and see where it falls short or where it helps us. And then we will go into the Advaitic notion of self, and then even there we object to it. Hey, you're telling this is wrong. Why? Then we clarify we do a continuous process of getting ourselves clearer and clearer about what it is, so that we become really confident about what we're talking about.
Big ideas, light touch. At the end of chapter 1 and 2, you'll find a short, light-hearted section where the concepts are reimagined as a playful chat.
I mean, this is just for those people who don't want to read the chapter 1 and chapter 2 because it can be a little bit heavy on theoretical concepts. Just a little anecdotal way of explaining it, and you can just move on to chapter 3.
Yeah.
So that's just the idea of that. Yeah.
Chapter 3, Realizing the Self. We move from concept to direct experience. Through subtle practices of awareness, inquiry, and presence, we learn to rest in our true nature, not as an abstract idea but as the living backdrop to all experience. This is not about reaching a special spiritual state. It is about settling into what has always been here, the clarity before thought, the peace beneath striving.
So chapter 3 is the crux of the experiential part, or the nididhyasana. So it will be too much if we just start at it only in chapter 3. So one of the things which we want to do is to do like a little 10-minute, 5-minute practices, so that by the time we reach chapter 3, we are really ready for the 30-minute or 40-minute meditations.
Chapter 4, Conversations on the Path. The tone shifts to a more personal dialogue. Here we gather common questions, doubts, and reflections that naturally arise along this journey, answering them in grounded, practical language. Real-life examples bring earlier ideas into sharper focus, creating a space to pause, revisit, and deepen your understanding in your own way and at your own rhythm. This is not a book about becoming someone else. It's a book about becoming intimate with who you are, who you already are. Not the version of you shaped by fear or expectation, but the presence that remains when all effort falls away. If this journey feels unfamiliar, that's okay. Awakening often begins as a quiet sense that there's more to life than the chase. What you'll find is not distant or new, but the very essence of what you have been seeking all along. Not outside you, but right here where you've always been. You don't need to chase happiness. You only need to stop overlooking it. You only need to come home.
Thank you. Nice. So, the chapter 4 is like more of the manana part, where we clarify and reflect, ask questions, and
It's
so
a really
on.
well written chapter because it's in that question and answer style.
Correct.
Very well.
Okay.
So, just as a process thing, did we all like this? Now, let me give my input to say that I think it's very important to explore this together, because we find it very difficult to explore it by ourselves. A lot of times do we sit and, you have done this by yourself many times, and that's the outcome is this book. I would say in
No,
many ways.
I've also been discussing this for many years with many people.
No, but then the core of what you did as a meditator also helped you formulate some of these things. And I think we're going there together. And I believe that this process is very good for all of us. So let's stick to it and let's do as much as we can to explore within ourselves through this process. Okay.
So one last what? So every week we'll do like a 10-minute meditation, but of course feel free to leave. So if we start on time,
Yeah.
then we kind of time it in such a way that 7:45 we will put a hard
Yes,
stop, and
yeah,
then we'll do a 10-minute
Yeah.
meditation and then do a little reflection. And,
Sure.
is that fine?
Yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's now do a short 10-minute meditation. Do we all of us have time? So there is no. Let's just this 10 minutes. Let's put out all our worries aside. There is nothing we need to do. So it's like getting into the airplane and you have nothing to do. The pilot is just taking off and
My condition is not only like I am in the plane, it should take off.
it's already taking off. Yeah, okay.
Not on the ground, there's still lot of, baggage nahi fit or
Everything has been sorted. So this next 10 or 15 minutes, we are just going to be without worries. If something comes up, we don't need to immediately act on it. Let's, in terms of, if you ask what is the posture for meditation, I think any posture which you are comfortable in is totally fine. Sofasana, chairasana, whatever. So now the posture you're sitting in is totally fine. So let's just close our eyes, but if it is not too comfortable to close our eyes, that's fine not to close as well. Slowly become aware of our breath. Just take 1 or 2 breaths which are a little deeper than normal. The idea of taking a slightly deeper breath is for the mind to pay attention to the breath. Now slowly become aware of our full range of experience. The weight of our body on the surface we are sitting on. The slight sound of the air conditioner. Traffic outside. The smell of the agarbatti. We're not making any judgments whether it is good or bad. We're just becoming aware of the full range of our experience. Now notice that your breath is happening even if you're not consciously breathing. Inhale and exhale. For those who can recognize their heartbeat, even that is just happening by itself. Now gently start becoming aware of your thoughts. You don't need, if there are no thoughts, that's totally fine. If there are some thoughts arising, just observe them and let it go. Bring your attention back to your breath. You can choose to use the breath as your anchor. Usually the thoughts which arise do not trouble us, they just come and go. Except those self-referential thoughts about I am this or I am that. need to do this. All those things which are self-referential thoughts will come up. Just let it go. This 10 minutes, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to respond to that. So notice any background emotion or mood. Is it pleasant or unpleasant? Maybe some little anxiety about something. Maybe just serene. Whatever is the emotional background state, do not touch it. Let it be. The background emotion is usually a story which we tell ourselves, coming from the self-related thoughts. The thought about maybe our children or a loved one might cause a little anxiety. Nothing wrong. This is the way human mind works. We just need to be aware of it. Take one or two deep breaths so that we remain in the anchor. The mind will inevitably wander, and that's normal, natural. Just bring it back to the breathing. When you are aware of your thoughts, your perceptions, feelings, note that there is something which is aware of that. Your breath is the object. There is something that is aware of the breath. The sound of aircon is an object, and we are aware of that. Your thoughts are objects, and you are aware of it. Your feeling or emotion is an object, and you are aware of it. You are not your thoughts or emotions, and of course you are not the sound of the aircon. Next couple of minutes, just let's stay with awareness. If your mind wanders, bring it back to this breath. If you're sleeping, that's fine. Bring it back to the breath. As the mind quietens, you probably even start hearing very subtle sounds. We are putting our mind under the microscope and seeing it. We're not going to judge it at all. The goodness, badness, the judgments which we inevitably make doesn't belong to us. Those are objects that we are aware of. Let's take another deep breath in. And exhale. Slowly start becoming aware of your surroundings, the weight of the body on the chair, the traffic, the surroundings. At your own time, you can just open your eyes. Thank you.
Nice.
Let's finish some reflections and then okay.
Very nice.
So any reflections
About
about the meditation or about the session, or do you want to, if you want to change some format, or
I would like to be here for every session. I would like to be here for every session.
okay, thank
So
you.
even if we are traveling, I prefer that. The
We will
session
do
is
an online.
good. No, we'll come back and do it with you again.
Okay, sure.
The experience.
Thank
part.
you.
It was really good.
To me, I was just thinking about this word fill in the blank.
Mhm.
So often, right, when we are given some page and it's blank or empty, the moment we are given it, we start filling it in. And that's how life has also filled things in us. So when the blank page or something is given, the blank itself is wholesome.
True. Yeah.
So why are we filling in the blank?
But lot of blanks are filled not by us, by the
Yeah.
expectations or externals, right?
Which we
At a
internalize.
formative age,
Mm.
when we don't even know they are being filled.
True. And we internalize it.
Absolutely.
Right. Most of Western psychology is about going to our early years and childhood and to look at all those habits which we have formed and why those such habits create how it's a kind of a directly related to how we behave.
And these need not even be personal, I feel. Like in India, how a girl should behave is a standard, how the girls are. And these are filled not only by our parents, by everyone. It goes deep inside.
Yeah. Things like boys should not cry,
Yeah.
girls should not be loud. All these messages which we get, we internalize.
I remember being told when we were getting married that like I was normal, you know. I am not generally a very shy person, or so I was just being normal, and one aunt came and told me that brides are not supposed to be like that. Look down.
This session, I'll tell you what I liked about it. I think all of us, and these days I'm able to also perceive an atmosphere in a room. Sometimes, if you notice, some satsangs when we go, some of them you really enjoy it at that time, because for some reason everybody is tuned into it and everybody is focusing on this. They're not looking at their phones or doing other things. They're not filling themselves with all this. So what Kalaji said is very wonderful. What I felt was that we all came with a blank page with no expectations. I felt that. I did this, and I do feel that everybody came like that. That's why I think the session went very peacefully. What I meant by peacefully is that we're not filling that blank page with all sorts of things there. For me, if the session would be successful, if we don't fill that page, we come blank, we go back.
Also expectations there. So here
Maybe you can switch off the video. We don't